Hey y'all, I'm Kiara Sheree,
And I'm Rhea.
and welcome to Yes Black Girl. Whoop, 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 whoop. How are you today?
I'm good. Today kind of just went by. Today's
It
just
hasn't
a
gone
day.
by.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
how is it
not.
already
It's,
3 o'clock?
you said what?
I said, because how is it already 3 o'clock?
I don't know. I woke up at like 7:30, and
Mm-hmm.
time's going. So I just been here doing stuff.
I feel that. I definitely didn't get anything accomplished today as of yet. Um, so after this, I have a million errands that I'm about to run, but it is what it is. It's still, we woke up, the sun is shining. But let's get into our guest. I'm so excited. Boo boo.
Okay, so Briena Brinay is a 22-year-old multifaceted artist of many mediums. Originating in Detroit, Michigan, she pursued visual and literary arts at an early age before expanding to dance, modeling, and graphic design. So she do it all. These
Ooh.
endeavors later led her to her current focus in music and production. She now teaches dance classes to all ages and owns a brand entitled Blissful Visions that enables herself and others to bring their art to life. She strives to be a chameleon of the arts and create safe spaces for entrepreneurs. So let's give it up for Briena.
Hello,
It'll be
hello.
a whole welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you ladies doing today?
Pretty good. Your skin is glowing, which
Good.
we always
Thank
love.
you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes. All right. So the first thing that we're gonna do before we get into the hard questions are the this
Mhm.
or that questions. So I'll
Okay.
start it off, and Rhea and I will alternate, just
Okay,
so we can kind
gotcha.
of break the ice a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So, Detroit or the DMV?
Ooh, that was definitely hard. But I want to say Detroit. The love is bigger.
Okay. I'm here for
hmm
that.
So, dance or visual art?
Visual art. What does that mean? Like like production, like music videos, movies, like that type of thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Dance or visual art. I'm gonna say visual art because dance can be in visual art. So I'm gonna say visual art.
Okay. All right. 90s R&B or 2000s R&B?
2000s R&B.
Oh, why? I need to
I
know.
don't know. I felt like I'm a big fan of old and new, and I felt like
hmm
2000s was a really good like era of that.
Like a
Now
fusion?
new's different. Yeah, like the new now
Yeah.
is a little different, but maybe it's because I'm getting old or whatever, or time is going past quicker because technology. But
hmm
I felt like 2000s was like that perfect like middle, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay.
I
hmm
feel that.
Yeah. Lil Kim or Nicki?
I'm gonna
I
have
know.
to say Nicki. I
Ooh,
do. I know
okay.
more Nicki songs, so by default, I have to say Nicki.
I'm not mad at that. Live performances or music videos?
Music videos. I'm kind of scared of live performances right now. Maybe because I'm new, but live performances are a little
hmm
scary.
Okay, all right.
Solo or collaboration?
Mm,
Right.
sounds hard because I love to collab. Like if you know me, I love to collab on stuff. But I'm gonna say solo because I always know it's gonna be done right if it's by if it's by myself.
Mm,
Yeah,
yes, you can't do it by yourself. What's,
you know what I'm
what's the point?
saying?
Yeah, can't
Right.
always rely on everybody else.
Exactly.
Okay, Ray, I'm gonna let you ask this one.
So this is the last one. Two dance styles. So Detroit Jet or DMV Beat Your Feet?
I've seen DMV Beach defeat way more, so I might have to say that one.
Okay.
I feel like I never
Wh-
saw that enough in person when I was in Detroit. So I never got
What
that
is
like
that?
in person feel. It's very close to Beach of Feet. It's just kind of
Okay.
like a different tempo, I feel like, and I feel like the fusion is just like a little bit different because it's kind of it's really drum heavy, I would say, in DMV. I feel
hmm
like it can be, but it's not as I don't know. It's just different. I feel like when you hear, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, it's not as intense because I feel like The drums are always louder in DMV music than the voice, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I would
Yes.
say it's kind of like the opposite.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna
Hmm.
look it up when we get done.
Right, right.
Now I want to know. I'm interested. All right. So you started out as a dancer, and you were originally a
Yeah.
part of the dance team Blackout at Bowie State, and then you
Oh,
later went
LOL.
on to create. You later went on to create Authentic's Dance Crew. So can you tell us about that journey and what led you to create and be a part of those teams on that campus?
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, it just feels like so long ago because it was been like 4 years.
Hmm.
I'm like, wow, like that. Like I don't know those names again. I haven't heard it in so long. But I think what led me to do that is I think I started teaching and being very active in my school's dance programs. I think I was leading about 3 dance clubs by the time I graduated. So I was very
Hmm.
heavily into dance. Like I was almost known to do that. I almost like barely had like a dating life or a social life because I was so into my art around that time. And I was so into dance around that time, and I was definitely on the Culture Shock dance team, Future Shock, went for the last year of high school. And I think that just motivated me to keep going after that because it was like I knew that I was at a private school. Like maybe I'm just the best on my dance campus. Like that's not that hard. It's a private school. It's not that big. So I was like,
Right.
when I felt like I was keeping up with Future Shock, or felt like it was a very big push out of my comfort zone. And I feel like if I could do it again, I would do it better. But I was a very
Hmm.
anxious young teenager with a lot going on. So, when I kept up on the dance end, I felt like, I feel like I can go higher than that. So when I went to college, it kind of just, came naturally. I think I saw on
Awesome.
Twitter somebody looking for like, dancers, because I saw that there was a dance team at Bowie, but it
Hmm.
was very much so not hip hop based at all. And I was very
Okay.
passionate about hip hop
Hmm.
because in high school I had a dance teacher who was very oddly against me doing hip hop. Like she was very adamant about
Wow.
me doing a lot of other things. I was trying to explain like
Hmm.
my culture, like this is what I grew up with. Like it may
Right.
not look the way that, in a private school you would think that it would look like, but it's still equally important to me and equally as,
Right.
meaningful to me. And I felt like that was something that just never got, across. So I didn't have a vendetta
Hmm.
against other, dance types, but I was
Yeah.
reluctant. I was just like, like, why can't this be as valid as ballet? Why can't this be as valid as
Exactly.
contemporary? Like, it's just as much culture as any other dance genre. So
Hmm.
that's kind of why I was very passionate about hip hop. So when I saw that, the dance team that was there didn't really have a hip hop focus, I would say. It kind of came naturally, or it's like I kind of like ended up coming across somebody who was looking for somebody for a dance, like a hip hop team. And I
Okay.
just connected with that person. They already had a few people on a committee. So I didn't want to be in charge. That was the last thing I wanted to do because it used to consume my life in high school. So I was like, okay,
Hmm.
great. There's already like a bunch of people already doing it. I just like to make dances up. As long as I get
Right.
to do
Just
that,
kind of
I'm
slide
cool.
up in here. Right. I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Is that like a big thing in the dance community? And that's, I guess, going towards both of y'all. Like, do a lot of people kind of shy away from doing hip hop dance, like in
I
certain
wouldn't say
spaces?
shy away. I would say invalidated more as
Okay.
invalidated as like the
Hmm.
shortest way to put it. Like it's not as skillful. Like it doesn't require as much skill and time as any other dance type,
Yeah,
or
Hmm.
it's
it's
recreational.
or it's always an elective if it's like
Hmm.
hip hop or tap. Um,
Hmm.
like at Bowie, like there's a tap
Hmm.
elective. I'm like, why is this not a full class?
Okay. Because
Right.
tap is not an easy thing.
It
Listen, that
isn't
takes
right.
skill. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
People
awesome.
say that ballet is like the foundation when it's
Hmm.
not. The foundation is the music, and no
Hmm.
one
Mm.
started that off, and that was the drum. So that
Right.
translates to hip hop. So yeah, I just don't like when people think hip hop is just easy. It's not because there's multiple styles. It's not just hip hop. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
that's a whole nother conversation that we could sit here and have all day.
We talk about it all day.
Right. Right.
So,
Hmm.
so, so I'm gonna keep it at that.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Okay.
Um, so yeah, shout out the Culture Shock.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And speaking of Bowie, we had modern class. We had modern together, right? Was it modern or ballet?
It was some type of choreography class. I feel like.
Your choreography. Okay. And
Yeah.
actually, I loved having you as a classmate because of your style and you trained in hip hop and
Oh,
stuff
thank
like
you.
that. You're welcome. And a lot of other people didn't, so like they just didn't understand it. But
Right.
speaking of which, do you still train in other dance styles or do you prefer to stay in hip hop?
Mm.
I still train other dance styles now that I've gotten older and like to like I've learned to see that how all these things are really connected, and it's great to have some type of experience in all of those things. So your foundation is strong. So I definitely try to. I after I got out of college, or I guess dropped out of college, I went to go work at a gym in which I taught hip hop fitness all day. So they had like bar classes and stuff like that that I would definitely partake in just because I wanted to get into, my own physical health. And on top of that, I felt like I missed a lot of years being able to do that because I was like fighting for my creative freedom in high school. Like I almost didn't do it out of like, girl, you're not gonna make me assimilate to this stupid little ballet stuff just because you want that to be deep to me. Like that's it doesn't hit like
Mhm.
that for me,
Oh,
and that's
wow.
okay.
I
Type.
understand.
Hmm. I feel that.
Mhm.
So how did you transition from dancer to a noun visual and musical artist?
I always wanted to do music,
Okay.
but when I danced very early on, that's what everyone, I guess, praised me for. And when you're young, it's kind of like that's what you like. You want to be praised
Hmm.
for what you're doing. And then around the time I moved from Detroit, I had moved in with my cousin Tydrin, and she was a dancer, and
Oh,
she's
Tyler's your
a
cousin?
yeah, that's my cousin. Yeah.
Oh, small world.
We're black people.
So I was really young, right? Like at around that time, I was like 6, and I think she's like 4 years younger than me. So I moved in with her. So I grew up a lot
Mm.
watching her dance, and I had never seen that type of dance before. So she really fascinated me. And around the time, I was like spending a lot of time with her because my mother was trying to work, handle the move and everything. So she was around me a lot. So it's just like I
Mhm.
kind of picked it up at that point. And when I kind of ended up moving out, maybe a year later, and started to get into school by myself. There was dance programs, and I ended up just, volunteering because I thought that it was just like something everyone knew how to do. But then I kind
Mm.
of realized like, oh, I'm kind of like, I guess I'm kind of good. Like I think I did like one solo in like 5th grade. And I remember like that applause, and I was like, wow, like, am I like kind of good? Like, I didn't know
This
that.
is my
Like, that's
thing,
crazy.
right?
Right. Like, maybe I shouldn't like stop. So, like, I
Mhm.
really like, took that on. But I was always writing. Like, I was a very big poet. And then I went into, just writing short stories. And then I evolved into
Mm.
just writing lyrics. But that was something that was just like for me. Dance kind of felt like that was something everybody wanted me to do and everybody pushed me to do. My cousins in the family, they're like, oh, you're going to be another her. You know what I'm saying? You should do that. I even joined Culture Shock because she, told me that she was on it. So she was like, you should audition for that. So it was kind of something not necessarily I was expected to do, but what I was kind of guided to do. Like, that's what you're good at. Like, keep pushing for that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
music was something I always wanted to do, but I thought it was a confidence thing. And it was in
Mhm.
a way, but I felt like it was just, being ready to be vulnerable with that part of myself when it came to music, because that's bearing more to me, because
Yes.
it's so
Absolutely.
vulnerable to like say like feel and turn that into music is definitely like a something that I held close to me. So having to do that and share that, like I knew what sharing dance was like to me, and when I started teaching, I found myself at some point disliking it around the time I got to like 21, since I had started when I was like 16. Like I
Mm.
started disliking it around 21 when I started making money off of it, because I was like, now it's a job. Now every time I dance, it's
Mm.
like for somebody else or for some money or just to make sure I'm afloat or something like that. So it's
Yeah.
like sharing that passion of me, it started to not be what I liked anymore. Or it's not
Mhm.
something I did on my own anymore. Like I didn't just go into the studio and freestyle the way I used to. And I noticed that I just didn't feel like going to classes. I didn't feel like people messing with my energy. I didn't feel like really being active in it anymore outside of teaching for it or making money off of it. And I felt like music was the thing that I ended up, expressing myself more fully in around that
Mhm.
time. So I was like, am I ready to share that with the world, or is that something, I want to keep having to myself? Because when it's to yourself, it's great. That's the only person you got to impress is you.
Yes. Which can also still
Yeah.
be a bar, like a hard bar, because a lot of times we are our hardest critics, and it's
Right.
like, whew, yeah, yeah. But I
Right.
feel that. Hmm.
So, as a musical artist, you go by the name of Paxxion, and you
Hmm.
recently released your single Rent Free. So, who
Hmm.
are some of your inspirations in music?
For sure, Aaliyah. I feel like she's my number one
Mm,
inspiration, and I just feel like that
yes.
was someone I don't know. I feel like I was always connected to even when I was younger. And of course, she died maybe when I was like 3 or 4 years old. But like one of those artists, I kind of like attached myself to. Like I wanted to keep watching those music videos. I wanted to keep learning those things. That she's also a Black Capricorn woman born in Detroit, so it was just naturally
Mm,
something I gravitated towards. And of course, she's like this balance between feminine and masculine energy, in which I always feel like I am too. So it was something that I feel like she was my biggest inspiration for music in general, but also having dance being a big part of it. So it just always felt like dance was the other half of what I wanted to do, but not
mm,
fully. Like I never wanted to be anyone's background dancer. It was just like like I wanted to pair that with music. So Aaliyah is definitely my number one inspiration, I would say. I feel like, rapping inspirations, of course, Little Kim, of course, Nicki Minaj, of course, Megan, you know what I'm saying? Like the cadence of Doja Cat, you know what I'm saying? Just certain
yeah.
like aspects of certain rappers, I think, influence me in a bunch of different ways. So, um, male artists, I love a lot of male artists that make dance music, if that makes sense. Like Chris Brown makes dance music, Travis Scott makes dance
Yes.
music, like music that's just easy to dance to, easy to, I feel like I adapt that into my music. I feel like Pop Smoke is definitely a huge inspiration because of the
Mm,
drill aspects. Like I'm a huge
yes.
drill fan, and I try to make a lot of my music drill oriented, and it's honestly
That's
a
what's
Midwest
up.
thing too. So I
Yeah.
love me some drill. Like I'm trying to, make my way in the R&B drill category,
Okay,
like
you
making
better
that my
create your
niche
own
like
lane.
situation. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? So I'm trying
I'm
to,
here for that.
make that a thing. So I feel like,
That's what's
Pop
up.
Smoke kind of broke that ice a little bit into the mainstream.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I love
Hmm.
that. Listen, we love a new genre, a new
You
mixture,
know
a
what I'm
new fusion.
saying?
But speaking of that,
Right.
that was actually our next question. How would you
Mhm.
describe your style of music and rapping?
Right. I would
And I guess,
definitely say R&B
yeah,
drill.
that's
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Because I definitely I'm still, working to sing. I'm just not quick to call myself a singer because I feel like I want to put the work in before I say I'm a singer. You know what I'm saying? I can
Mm,
carry a tune. If I have to
mm-hmm.
carry a tune, I'm gonna carry a tune. But like I wouldn't
Yeah.
say I'm a singer yet until I do the, proper training for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I still want to adapt, R&B, but of course, in R&B you gotta, be able to sing a little bit. So I still
Yeah.
adapt that R&B into, me still rapping, and then I also feel like drill is one of the easiest things to dance to. I feel like my
Mm-hmm.
favorite thing about most songs, especially when it came to dance or things that would just hit me harder, is intense bass, like
Mm-hmm.
very, like heavy 808s. Like a lot of bass in my
Yeah.
songs are really extremely heavy. Like I just, those type of things that make me feel something immediately is what I like write to.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up. I've actually
Mhm.
heard a lot of people lately, like a lot of artists say that you can always tell that the music is gonna hit if the artist is like also a dancer, if they can really like
Right,
dance well because they can hear
right,
it in the
right,
music, they know how to move. So that's
right.
dope. Yeah.
So recently, the film "The Harder They Fall" premiered on Netflix, which I just finished that today, and it was so good. So
So
if you have
good.
not seen it, you should watch it.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
although it's been receiving raving reviews, one of the largest criticisms is around the choice to use a lighter skinned black woman, who is Zazie Beetz, to play the historical figure stagecoach Mary, who was a full figure dark skinned woman, dark skinned black woman, which Zazie Beetz is not. We all know that.
Yes.
So
Hmm.
for you, what has been your experience been like as a dark skinned black woman in the entertainment industry?
Ooh,
And
that's a heavy one.
does it differ like in the
It's so
DMV
many.
and like
Mm,
Detroit
Right,
and in LA too? Because I know you've been.
right.
ooh, LA.
Right. That's such a heavy topic that I feel like I could go in so many directions in. That I definitely
Hmm.
got to, like focus that question.
Zone in.
Well, just on the surface level, people definitely compare you to a lot of other female rappers. Like, oh, you listen to Megan, you sound like Doja, you sound like this person. When all of y'all probably sound like Gunna anyway. Half of y'all sound like
Mm,
Drake. Half of y'all sound like Lil Baby. But since I'm the female here, and especially the black female, they expect me to write about certain things. Like I've definitely gone to like cipher situations where we
yeah.
all pull up and write to a beat. And it's like, I know exactly what y'all want me to talk about. Like, I can talk about
Mm-hmm.
things that, like I usually talk about in my own music. But if I'm doing a feature, I'm like, okay, I know why they want a female feature. I know what they want this to be
Mm-hmm.
like. Like, I know exactly what they're like, thinking. And I felt like when
Yeah.
I've gone out of that box, it's been like, why? They're like on their
Yeah.
end, like, for what? So it's that end. And then also just not competing with, but knowing that like we have to definitely be like 10 times our talent in order to make stuff work. For sure. Like
Mm.
I feel like I wouldn't have made it this far if I did not adapt to so many different art mediums. If I didn't start doing a lot of this by myself, like making my own music videos, making my own treatments, paying for my own short films, like doing that on
Mm.
my own, I don't think anyone really would have given me that chance. I had to, work to buy that chance or, like learn all these different things that wasn't necessarily like what I wanted to do, but like all went into, the general presentation of my expression. So if I
Yeah.
didn't do all that, I don't think I would have really gotten much handout, if you will. And
Mm.
even with all these talents, I feel like I still don't get the reaction I would expect, if that
I
makes
feel that.
sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. 100%. Is that the same like in the dance community as well?
I don't
Did you
think
say?
so. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever really felt that way in the dance community at all. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it does become present in stuff like, NBA cheerleading teams. Like I feel like those lines,
Mm. Yeah.
those get a little fishy. But beyond that, like behind all that, I feel like when it's just going to dance classes, being in dance communities, I don't think it's really about that. I think it's about who you know
Mhm.
more than it
Okay.
is about what you look like, which is
Mm.
great. Like I don't
That is
necessarily feel
great.
like, white hip hop dancers get more chances than black. I don't necessarily feel that way. I think
Mm-hmm.
they actually have to work harder to, like make
Mm-hmm.
some type of name in our community. So
Yeah.
I would say it doesn't really matter unless we're getting into the corporate part of it and we're getting into, national teams and, their
Yeah.
standards.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Yes, definitely like sports teams and
Hmm.
some of the entertainment industry, like Hollywood and stuff. They're
Oh
just
yeah.
starting to like expand on sizes and skin tones.
Right.
There will always only be one dark skinned black girl, one light skinned girl, an Asian girl,
Exactly.
and the rest white.
And you
Yeah.
definitely see that in like acting in general, like that. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
music is kind of fair game to get there, but I feel like to stay there or to make it past certain mediocre artists shine who happen to be lighter than you. Like for example,
Mm.
like Tink, Victoria Monet, like
Mm.
Janelle Monet. Is it Janelle Monet? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Yeah, like there's definitely so many black artists that I definitely listen to that I feel like do not get the shine that they deserve. And it's like, of course,
Absolutely.
they get paid. You know what I'm saying? They're at the award shows and all that good stuff. But it's just
Mm-hmm.
like you're not nearly
As
getting what
artists.
right like then like what a Danny
Mm-hmm.
Lay or a Coi Leray is getting, like, which is honestly insane to me.
Honey. Okay, that
It's
part.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely have to be like you said, 10 times better than what's already out there
Right.
and really have like that creativity factor. Cause you
Right.
can't just be mediocre because you are competing with a bunch of other that's facts.
Right.
All
Right.
right. So let's talk about your company, Blissful Visions, and what
Hmm.
inspires you to create it.
That definitely came from the passion itself, just came from me having to do it on my own, like dance videos. I think was like the start of that. So
Mm-hmm.
when I definitely like pushed for that, I had to learn how to edit on my own because editing, getting it shot, all that good stuff, that costs a lot of money. To be
Yeah.
honest, especially getting dancers, sometimes it can like they got to be like
Mm-hmm.
a good friend of yours to like be cool with that. And I did definitely have a lot of those, but at some point, you want to get your friends paid. So it was definitely like that was kind of like the start of me editing. Then I kind of like,
Mm.
really kind of noticed I was kind of good at it or I had an eye for it. And I felt like I liked the editing part. I like editing. I feel like a lot of like
Editing
shooters
is
don't like
fun.
to edit. Like some people don't like the
Yeah.
hours. It takes a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's really annoying. Sometimes your program crashes. Sometimes footage gets lost. But it's just
Yeah.
like I'm very proud of things after I edit them. And I feel like I definitely see them in a way some people don't. So I
Mhm.
enjoy the editing part of it. And so I think from there I started editing for money. And then like and then branched from my dance job because we started doing like
Mhm.
films and stuff like that. And I definitely started helping out with those. So that's
Right.
kind of where I like, branched from. And then, I got into making websites, which other people would ask me to build for them. Like, but not, coding. I mean, like, just making them on website builders and, just doing
Yeah.
that pretty efficiently. Like people started to
Right.
ask me about it. And I was taught a little bit about it in private school as well. So that's kind of where it started. And I feel like it
Mm.
just evolved into a business kind of when I put my first film out, I think. And I
Okay.
think that was like 2017.
Mhm.
2016, 2017. And after that, I felt like I should take it more seriously. People do ask me to do logos sometimes. People do ask me to do, these small little editing jobs. I was like, hell, might as well make a little money off of it, especially if I have to do it for myself anyway.
Okay. Get your
Mhm.
coin.
Right, right.
Yes.
I feel like you could be a
Yeah.
brand consultant too.
I do a
Okay.
little bit. I
I'm
do a little bit
actually we
Like
could be
it's a list.
reaching out.
Yes.
for sure.
We saw that you created your first film through Blissful Visions, Love on Earth.
Mhm.
So, what was that
Mhm.
process like, and what was the inspiration behind the film?
The funny part is that's like the second film, but I made that the first
Okay.
official film because I felt like the first film was trash. So
Okay.
because I felt that way about it, I was like, this is gonna be my first official. So
Mhm.
this one was based a lot off the first one. It was actually about being a black woman in America, and I used
Okay.
SZA's Control album to kind of narrate that through, and that's on like my YouTube page, which is it's super old, and I'm like I never recommend it to people because I was like, oh my god, I was so young, I was just trying to figure out how to do this myself. Like I had
Right.
limited resources. I had just got out of like dropped out of college just trying to find
Mhm.
what I like to do. And that was definitely on my bucket list. So that was my first film. So, making a bigger statement with music from the same project to kind of like,
Mm.
narrate some type of, storyline. And especially like,
Yeah.
pitching that idea to my friend who was also helping me out with videography at that time, Dre Direct. He was helping me a lot around that time. So I pitched it to him. He always wanted to do movies. I'm like, hey, like I want to make a love story. You want to make a movie. I just got to find the right music. When I figured out all the, I scheduled everything. I casted everybody. I figured out the days we were going to do it. I rented the cars. I rented the spaces. Like I did all of that before I even like recruited people. Like, hey, the production's
Mhm.
basically done. You just got to come at these
Yeah.
days, at these hours, read this, come in this. Everything is already on one,
Mhm.
accord. So
Right.
I'm very, very, very organized when it comes to my production. If payment is involved, I'm very, quick about it because if I'm doing it, I'm
Yeah.
probably, able to afford it at the time. So, I'm
Mhm.
very, I pride myself on being professional in that. So I think it was definitely like a learning experience at least. It was definitely fun. I love the way that it came out. But I learned a lot and I know who to, work with, how to navigate certain people. Because there was days where like we would have everything lined up and then somebody wouldn't come and we'd all have to go home and just
Mm.
do this all again, rent stuff
Yeah.
again, get in that same space again. And it's like, okay,
That is the
we're
hard
trying to get
part
it
about
done.
making a
So
You know
film.
that very well.
yes,
Yes.
that was a lot of people working
Mhm.
with all those people's schedules. I feel like
Yeah,
that was
that's
the
really the
hard
hard
part.
part. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. You got to make sure
Right.
everybody can be available on these days, making sure everybody
Exactly.
has what they need to wear, making sure
Right.
it's definitely it's a process.
Yeah. And we had no
Whew.
rehearsals, really. I
Oh.
just sent out videos because it was during
Mhm.
COVID. So we couldn't really
Okay.
have like in-person rehearsals. So I got with my choreographer and we would just, record the tutorial. So that was also an issue. Like, did you watch the video? Did you
Yes.
learn the choreo? Like some people would just be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I learned it, and you watched
And
it
watch
like
nothing.
twice. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yes.
they think I could just pick it up when I get there, and then I'm like, you see how this about to
Mhm.
take like 30 minutes
It
to
takes
like a
even
couple
longer.
hours to get there, and
Right.
then we're fighting daylight, like stuff like that. Like so, it's just been like logistics and stuff
Whew.
like that. So yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's all part of the learning experience at the same time.
Yes,
So it's
but I
like you
can't
know
say it
what to
turned
do,
out
what not to
beautifully.
do. That's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, so it was definitely
Yes.
fun. I think my favorite scene was definitely the first one with the when the dancers first appear because I was on the
Mhm.
stairs of my house, so it was all in my house, so it was all recorded in this
Oh
room.
shit.
So like I was on
What?
the stairs, yeah, like it was mostly like her room was my room, and so I was on the
Okay.
stairs And I was just like, okay, turn the camera to the back. Okay, now move. Now go to the bed. Now go down.
Come on,
Now
baby,
walk in
Issa
here.
Rae.
Right. So I'm gonna release that video, I think, one day of just like, me yelling direction from the background, because I definitely couldn't see anything. I
Yes.
couldn't be in the shot, so I couldn't see anything. So I feel like that one was like my favorite moment. I feel like it came out the best.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
That's what's up. All right.
Mm-mm.
So when it comes to being multifaceted, how do you manage
Mm-mm.
your schedule depending on the season? Like for instance, if you're
Mm-mm.
doing choreography or if you're working on projects for yourself or other people.
Um, for the most part, I try to funnel things into different, sectors of my life. Like, for example, like most of the time I'm choreographing at this point is for my dance job where I teach kids during the day,
Hmm.
and I do that about 4 out of 7 days a week. So it doesn't take too much of my time because they're kids, so they don't, take too much, like work to figure out. And a lot of times we're doing films now, so I edit for the company as well. So between that and doing things for the collective that I'm in now, called Bummy Cult, which is like an art collective where it's like several different artists on one, team to basically, raise money for like showcases and, different
That's
events that
dope.
we can throw to bring people together. So that's
Okay.
kind of the two places I feel like I've put most of my creative energy into. And I feel like,
Okay.
my own music videos and the kind of like making themselves. Because at this point, I'm
Mhm.
sitting on about 5 music videos now. Even though I just dropped one today, I'm still sitting on a few. Because when I go to LA, I do about 2 or 3 at a time. And then I just,
Mhm.
sit on them and wait until like, the right time to release it, like season and, what's out right now. What is, like, is it in the middle of a holiday? Like that
Right.
type of stuff. So yeah, I definitely,
Okay.
binge work, put it to the side. So like, the rest of the work is kind of, being able to be handled between, my dance job and doing the collective.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's smart.
Briena be working.
I try. I gotta practice resting sometimes.
Me too.
Very
Okay.
bad at
Yes.
it. Very bad at it.
Wow. So, what is your favorite thing about directing, and how do you navigate working with other directors on projects? So, like you said, you was working with Dre. Like,
Hmm.
if he has a vision and you have a different vision, how do y'all figure that out? Do you put it together, or do you
Hmm.
kind of just like go with what he says since he's the director, or
Hmm.
would you rather do what you want to do?
We basically talk about a lot of that stuff, or we used to talk about a lot of that stuff like beforehand. Like,
Mm.
he would basically let me handle direction of the dance part if I let him just, handle the camera part. And like he'll tell me ahead of time, like this space may be a little too small, like I may have to go from the back, like come out and go back in. Are you okay with that? That's the only way to, make it look like this. So, I think we talked about a lot of that beforehand before we got there. So we didn't really like clash too much, I would say. Like I couldn't trust him if I had to work with some dancers behind the scenes and something had to get shot because we had a limited amount of time. I could trust that if I told him what I wanted, he would be able to do it. So it's like
Mm.
we were basically always on the same page. We would always kind of be teaching each other something new every time we got to a new set. But at the end of the day, I think we were good at going with each other's ideas and making them work to one goal.
That's dope.
Yeah, teamwork.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And it's definitely got to be some chemistry there in order for that to flow, which
Mhm.
I feel like is what you're discussing is the chemistry. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's dope. So I love this question, Ray. By the way, do you feel
Mhm.
like your work challenges existing barriers and assumptions in society?
Yes. Yes. I was like, I have to think about that really quick. But yes,
Hmm.
I would say so. I would say, how I phrase this. People don't like black stuff coming from black people as much anymore. I feel like that's the
Mm.
best way I can really like put that. And I'm very
Hmm.
big about if you're gonna do hip hop, I don't really care, like where you're from, your ethnicity or anything like that. But like if you're not black or if you didn't grow up with that, you're a guest. And that's okay.
Mm.
Just like in any other culture. If I go to
Yeah.
India, in Bollywood and that type of music, I am a guest. I can always
Right.
participate, but I am a
Yeah.
guest. You know what I'm saying? There's things I can do
Absolutely.
in those restrictions, and there's things I can't do, and out of respect
Hmm.
for the genre. And I feel like this country disrespects hip hop too much
Mm.
to let. I feel like Black women thrive the way we should in hip hop. We
Yeah.
open the door too much because we're forced to people who are knockoff copies to us, people who claim
Oof.
they're hip hop artists and they just kind of got into it when they hit a certain like age, like 14, 15, like high school, middle school,
Yeah.
when this is not the stuff like you
Hmm.
grew up on. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
this is not the lifestyles you
Don't know
witnessed,
the
and that's the
history
lifestyles
of
you're
it.
around. Right, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And definitely the things that I saw in Detroit, when the things that the pain that we definitely have rapped about in
Mm.
our music is something I witnessed firsthand. And so in that way, when people kind of try to put it on as a costume, it's
Yeah.
honestly it passes too much nowadays.
Hmm.
So I feel
Yeah.
like yes, there's a lot of Black women who are successful in doing hip hop, but in a way, it's like fighting for a spot amongst a lot of people who are not very true to the genre. So that could
Hmm.
be very frustrating. So in a way, it feels like I'm going against something that they don't want to be. There's only so
Okay.
successful a Black woman can be in her own genres almost.
Hmm.
Because a white woman
Yeah.
or a light skinned woman who's probably never gone through that, or a mixed woman who has never seen that, you know what I'm saying, can put it on and call it a day. You
Hmm.
even see in, Asia and stuff like that. They can put it on and
Yeah.
call it a day.
Right.
So, yeah.
I feel that. Yeah.
That made me think of this one Instagram account. It's like some Asian dude. He's like a hairstylist, and he like
Mm.
installs fake locks in the Asian people's hair, and they get fades. It's so weird, but
It's kind of uncomfortable to watch. They do so much.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, wow.
so much.
Like they think it's
Yeah.
maybe flattering or cool or trendy, and it's kind of
It's really
creepy.
the trendy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's creepy
Yeah.
on our end because it's like accents. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like, if we're like, I assume we're not all native Spanish speakers. If we were to
Yes.
speak in Spanish, a native Spanish speaker is going to be able to tell
That you're
you
not.
don't
That's
talk
not your
like
language.
that,
Yeah.
right? So if
Hmm.
certain people come up to me, he's like, "Yeah, no cap, homie, I don't get." Whoa,
It'd be the
you
grammar
don't
for
talk
me.
like that,
Girl
right?
slang.
Like
Right.
that's you're not even using it right, right?
Yes.
Like it is like
Yes.
the same feeling. Like, and I think people like Ebonics, our slang is an actual language. Like we can tell when people
Hmm.
are not native to it, or it's like you don't even
Right.
sound like a dialect. Like I can even like me having a Midwest accent or mixed a little bit with a DMV one. Like I'll still be able to tell somebody has a Southern accent whether I can understand them or not. You know what I'm saying? I can
Yeah.
identify that's the dialect that you speak. But like, there's other
Exactly.
people where it's like that's not even a thing. Like, no one even says it like
You're even
that
fluent
in that
about it. You're
order,
right.
right?
Yes.
Like, so it's just like we know
Hmm.
when something's wrong. We know when someone isn't among us, if that makes sense.
Right.
So it's definitely something it's. I would say it's a pet peeve for
Yeah.
sure.
I
Hmm.
feel that.
And that also makes me think of how people think our culture is just so accessible and it's for everybody. But when it comes
Yes.
to other cultures, they're like, oh, that's theirs. They should have that.
Yeah, we have
Right.
boundaries now. But like
Yep.
for ours, it's like anybody can come and just, do it for fun and, then go
Hmm.
back to doing something serious or something that makes them more money or something more professional. So,
Absolutely. Like Miley Cyrus coming in and having
right.
her little hip hop moments, switching up.
That's exactly what I was thinking of
Whew,
as a
what a
rebellion.
time. Okay.
Yeah,
And
that
then
was
coming back
weird.
with her straight hair and her cowgirl,
Right.
aesthetic. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. It's like,
Right.
girl, what?
Just to give Hannah Montana part two, like it was upsetting.
Like for real. It's super
Mm,
disappointing.
right. Mm.
So, what's next for you in Blissful Visions?
Right now I move a lot under the collective because we're gonna start, helping people out with music videos. Because now that I've done enough of my own, I definitely feel like it's something that comes pretty naturally to me. So I definitely want to
Mhm.
start doing stuff like commercials for local brands and things like that, as well as just music videos in the area because I don't feel like there's a lot of help in the DMV. A lot of people are expected to do everything themselves, or mess with somebody who has more clout just to get to a place to people respecting them. So, we definitely, as a collective, we definitely try to, unify our people. Like, it doesn't have to be a competition. We can honestly get there together. Like, it's okay. We all do different things, and it's okay to do different things. They may all work together. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
That's what's up. All right. And our last
Mhm.
question for you, can you
Mhm.
please share any advice or words of encouragement for multi-talented artists that are doing their best to find their way in their careers?
Mm. Try stuff and don't be afraid to F up.
Mm,
It's okay. It's really okay to mess up. I've done a lot of stuff that I don't necessarily want to push now. But if I
mm-hmm.
didn't F up a few times and, take all those lessons and L's, like I wouldn't have, felt like I was fully expressing myself the way that I am today. I would have kept myself
Yeah.
in a box. I would have kept doing what I knew, but I wouldn't have ever, fully been happy or fully been, content with that. So it's okay to mess up. It's okay to try different things. Like I've definitely been discouraged to try different things, especially being a dancer, wanting to be a singer and wanting to be an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get a lot of just stick to dancing. Like I get it.
Yep.
Like push.
Yep.
Like it's okay. Like do
Mm-hmm.
your own thing behind the scenes and come out and prove a lot of people wrong.
Mm. That's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful advice.
Mm-hmm.
All
For sure.
right. Yes. I
Yeah.
love that. And on that
Mm-hmm.
note, that is a wrap for today. Thank you so much, Briena, for coming on and
Thank you.
sharing your
Thank you.
gems.
Mm-hmm.
Let the people know where they can follow you and find your work.
You can follow me at BRXXIENA for most of my ad sets. I think TikTok, I think Twitter, as well as Instagram. So yeah, that's where you're gonna find most of it. And of course, from there, you guys can find the link trees to my websites and YouTube channels, portfolios, all types of stuff like that. Hmm.
Awesome. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back next Monday. In the
Hmm.
meantime, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Yes Black Girl. Follow us on Instagram at Yes Black Girl Series. And follow me and Ray too at Unique Genre
Right.
and at The Only Ray on IG. Okay.
Hmm.
Bye.
Bye.